Hey, welcome to the final video in this 6-part series on fall work on high water mobility deciduous trees such as Japanese maples. I present to you here the president. I don't know how this name came about, but it's definitely the most impressive of all the maples. It has an incredible base, as you can see here. Unfortunately, the most impressive white base, it's a bit too impressive perhaps, and I think it's a bit too wide from that angle, from here. But there are other equally impressive fronts that we can experiment with. And I slanted slightly the pot because, as you can imagine, from this lateral angle, were the pot not slanted this way, the tree would be slanting itself down. And at the moment, I believe the most impressive front is somewhere here, where we have a very wide base, especially adding to the power of the base is this root here. And as many of the others, other maples, you can see from the darker color that this is all that was buried underground. So all of this was uncovered when I collected them. Let me give you a bit of a 360. And again, although I will choose a preferred front at this time and style the tree primarily looking at that, I will not disconsider the other parts, and I will style the tree with the consideration of natural lines and sustainable design, in a sense that at the end all directions will look as good as they can look at this time, and they will then have a chance to become the front in the future, or the tree may have multiple fronts. On this front here, we can see the impressive knuckles here that are produced. A little bit of an inverse taper produced from all these powerful branches that once existed and now are shortened in the natural tree, but this one, for example, is still here, and it has these knuckles. But these undulations to the trunk give it a very nice character of age. It's not just, even if it were a thick trunk deciduous tree, but it was a smooth taper, this is less natural than having these undulations that come with age in deciduous trees. And I recently saw this old, maybe 5-year-old video from Nigel Sanders. Shout out to Nigel. And there's a link to this video below in the descriptions. And on that video he shows many old maples in his area. Here in Ontario, I'm in Quebec, but it's very similar. And this is really characteristic of old maples. So although this tree is only 35 to 40 years old, I don't know, this looks like an old impressive tree. Now, one of the disadvantages of this front is this huge root that I had to cut when collecting this tree, and it's slightly callousing over, but it never will fully callus because of the size. And with this angle, the tree will probably be buried. So this, the new planting angle will be one that will slightly cover this branch, this old root. We have this root here that eventually will probably have to be removed. As you can see, it's this one root jumping from the air. Now it will be closer to the surface planting plane, so it will stay for now. I don't even know if it's alive or not, but it will stay for now. So I will style the tree with this as the front, where we can see all the character in here going up. We can see all these side branches coming out, and we have an idea of an impressive nebari, an impressive root flare with taper, but again, it may change in the future. Another possibility is actually from the back and maybe slightly here. So we have again this strong root on the back. We have all the side branches. We have the right angle, and actually we miss a little bit of the character here, but some of it is in the front too. It's a little bit, it gives an impression of being more straight than here. Here it appears to be less straight than here. I think this side is a little more tamed, although the root flare is a little bit better. It's perhaps a bit hard to see, but this one root here separates into two. Yeah, you can see here it separates one here and one here. These side views have the widest nebari, but it gives, to my taste, too grotesque of a taper, which I don't like. And so for now, because this has all this character of these knuckles and appears less straight, like so, then the back view, I feel that I will style it that way. But again, it's hard to get a final decision because it looks good from both directions. I'm really torn between the two options. This option here perhaps is slightly better. You have these two branches, two roots that are separating. You see some of the one in the back here. You still see all this movement, and then you have this interesting movement here on the front, on the top. There's this big wound here that is less apparent from the other side though. So let's take a look at the other side. Somewhere here. Yeah, very hard to decide. I will style it with both of these sides as potential fronts. So this tree will have, for now, two fronts. I'll style the front as if one side as if it was the front, and the other side as if it was the front, with the concepts of natural lines and sustainable design. And with that, I hope that it will look equally or as good as it can look from both directions. And with that we will then decide in the future. So the first step now is to remove all the insignificant branches, all the growth in the crotches that we don't need, such as this. And after we clean, we'll have a better idea of what needs to be guy wired down or up, and how we go about if one of these two possible fronts becomes definitely better than the other, a better option than the other, or we leave it to be decided in the future. So I will now move to a time lapse, and stay tuned to the end because I want to discuss a little bit about the general philosophy in developing maples, and I want to discuss the similarities between the hedge pruning method and the methodology used by Dennis Vojtilla, who is well known for the quality of his deciduous bonsai, particularly maples in the Pacific Northwest. He won the best deciduous tree in the last US national exhibition, maybe last year or the year before, I'm not entirely sure, probably last year. And there are a lot of similarities between his methodology to develop Japanese maples and the hedge pruning method. So stay tuned for that discussion at the end of this video. Hey, this is the final product of this styling of this Japanese maple. I'm astounded at the amount of ramification that I find, and as you can see here in this detailed footage, it's just incredible that this amount of fine ramification can be developed in 1 year using the hedge pruning method of Paul. And this tree is very impressive. As you can see, I had to use power tools here, as well as here. The branches that were in place were too thick and just couldn't be so close to the apex. I have this branch here that is coming from below and turning to the front, sort of coming from under. And I don't know if this branch will stay or go in the future. For now it stays. It may not be entirely necessary, and it's very thick. We will see. And I promised I would speak about the similarities between the methods used by Dennis Vojtilla to develop deciduous bonsai and what Dennis Vojtilla says he does, and you can check that out in the Bonsai Mirai podcast that I am linking down in the description, is that he does not let branches elongate too far season after season. He always cuts them back after a bit of growth. He cuts them back to one node. And essentially this is similar to what you do with the hedge pruning method, in which you just come and cut to silhouette and then let branches evolve from the interior nodes. And this is very similar. One thing that Dennis Vojtilla says he does is that he pinches highly developed trees in the spring, and this is in an attempt to maintain a silhouette of a highly developed tree. I think there are other ways to let grow and cut to internal growth, so always developing with a sustainable design mindset, allowing the tree to grow, not trying to stunt its growth year after year. In any case, for those that don't still believe on the power of the hedge pruning method, this is an example of 1 year of development. We have extremely short internodes here, really short, less than a quarter inch, I would say, at some points. For example, here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 internodes less than a quarter of an inch, and it's really impressive that I can get this on a tree in 1 year of development. With in 1 year of development and growing in this box. So, as I had doubts of whether to keep developing these trees in boxes or proceed to repot them as soon as possible, here I have an example of a tree which is developing very short internodes, a lot of ramification, while in a box. So it may be an anomaly, or it may just say that it's possible, and I don't need to try to repot these trees as soon as possible. Now, the front is not yet decided. We have this as one possibility. Let me show a little higher shot of the entire tree. So we have one possibility here, another possibility here, And I think both look really nice now, especially that I performed the carving here. I really don't like to use power tools, especially in my living room. But I think this was a fault in this tree that needed to be addressed at this point. There is no point of waiting another year to fix this. Now these branches look like branches, and we'll see how this tree develops. So this tree shows the potential of the hedge pruning method, the amount of ramification and short nodes is really impressive. I was not expecting it. I had not looked at this tree during the year in detail because of all the foliage, and I had not looked at it while after removing the foliage. I was waiting to style it, so today it was my first look at it, and I'm really impressed. I really like the movement that it's developing, and I think it has a great future. So I hope that this 6-part series of fall work on high water mobility deciduous trees such as Japanese maples was useful. We saw the whole gamut of techniques, including power tool use. So this is it for now. Thank you for watching. If you like this, please subscribe and share, and until the next one, bye for now.